Hello, everyone. Here we are in a session on what is to be a session on forecasting. And I'm going to start this session off with a talk by our colleague Hua Do. She put this together and asked me to do the voiceover for her. But these are her slides. She shared them with me about her work about our collective work in Vietnam. So this presentation will be a case study about applying decision analysis approaches to assess long-term economic performance of different agroforestry practices in the northwestern regions of Vietnam. You can see them soon. Very excited to talk about this. And I'm talking, as I said, on behalf of Hua Do. This is a paper by Hua Do, Eike, Luedeling, and myself. I'm Cory Whitney, as you know. So the area that we're talking about is dominated by steep sloping land. I'll just move the picture here for you. So it has long periods of continuous maize cultivation, and the region has been facing severe soil erosion and land degradation. So ECRAF, or World Agroforestry, has studied and promoted several agroforestry settings with the combination of various perennial species and annual crops. And we grouped those together into 3 system categories: simple agroforestry, maize-based agroforestry, and coffee-based agroforestry. ECRAF used field trials as the main assessing approach, which in general also is also considered the most reliable way to go about doing research in agricultural settings. However, given the complexity and the long time planning of agroforestry, and the many project time constraints, this approach could be expensive and may risk overlooking uncertainty and the many risks faced by farmers who are going to be putting this agroforestry into practice. So using a model in this case is probably cheaper to forecast intervention outcomes. There's something of the modeling approach. So a model in general consists of an input, a processor, and an output in the simplest terms. Deterministic models accept single values of inputs and produce single values as outputs. But probabilistic models operate in very much the same way, at least the models that we produce. But instead of a single value, the model can accept a range of values as inputs and produce value ranges for the outputs. We use these probabilistic modeling approaches to quantify uncertainty in our assessment of these interventions in Vietnam. So to build this kind of model, we took advantage of all kinds of information, including expert knowledge, and we applied the procedure of decision analysis as demonstrated in this flowchart. We first identified potential experts with relevant experience and expertise. That's the red box here. That's our first stage selection criteria and identification of experts. Together with those selected experts, we outlined all the costs, benefits, and risks for agroforestry interventions, and then elaborated inputs for the mathematical model. Experts were asked to provide their estimates for model parameters in the form of 90% confidence intervals, defined by lower and upper bounds and distribution shapes. And this is how uncertainty was quantified, or how we quantified uncertainty for the model. Experts were taken through calibration training before giving their estimates to ensure that the ranges they provided reflected the true level of uncertainty, or their true level of their own uncertainty. We calculated net present value as the main economic indicator, and probabilistic simulations were then implemented using Monte Carlo techniques. PLS, projection to latent structures or partially squared regression, was used to perform sensitivity analysis, and all the calculations were done using, of course, the decision support package in R. In this case, version 1, but we can run this again with the latest version together. We revised and updated the model whenever new information was added. So here's how the conceptual model was built. We considered agroforestry as the intervention. We wanted to test the long-term performance through the calculation of net present value. to calculate NPV, we first needed to know the total cost and the revenue. And there were two types of costs that were incurred. That's establishment costs and maintenance costs. And the direct benefits from main crop components were the main contribution to system profit. We also considered the monetary value from soil erosion control as a benefit of agroforestry on sloping land. The most important risks affecting the crop yield and eventually the system benefits were identified, such as extreme weather events like drought, frost, hot and dry wind. Crop prices were important inputs to calculate system revenue, and discount rates were used to account for the time value of money. That is to say that farmers prefer, if farmers prefer to get paid now or later, and how much they value that difference in time. So the three main outputs were highlighted in all the model returns. Just move this again for you. The net present value of each agroforestry system in comparison with the maize monoculture as a baseline. That's the light blue here is the maize monoculture. And you're looking at the other distribution for the comparison. VIP score, variable importance in the projection from the PLS regression tool, and expected value of information. It's calculated for each input variable. What we're showing here for VIP and EVPI are just those variables which did have a high enough value to be included, to be worthy of mentioning, let's say, or non-negative, not more than zero. It's not even negative here. For all the models, agroforestry systems showed a greater chance of achieving higher profits. I'll show you the other models soon, but yeah, we'll always get a better NPV distribution here, more positive values. We can roughly estimate the chance of certain value ranges that we aim for when making the decisions. And since agroforestry is a long-term investment, discount rates appeared to be the most important uncertainty in all the models, followed by crop yield and crop prices. So here you can see discount rates and then the price of crops for these two options. And that's true for other models we'll see in a minute. And this implies that those variables should be the focus of information search, any information searches when planning agroforestry practices. This is true for the simple agroforestry systems. For the maize-based agroforestry systems, here you can see again, discount rates have a high variable importance. There's no expected value of information. That is to say, there's no expected value of perfect information. There's nothing in this model that would justify doing more research or investing in more research. That the decision is clear enough. You can see most of the values are positive. For this option, we can see here that Langen yield at peak. So there's one variable for which they're maybe worthy of some investment, not so much, but worthy of a bit in order to make a better decision. And coffee-based agroforestry systems, we can again see, sorry, let me just move this for you. We can again see how these things look, which variables would be worth more research and which variables were important in terms of sensitivity in the PLS model. And discount rate is consistently right at the top. That matters a lot. How long does it take to get paid off for this investment? So to summarize, decision analysis could be applicable for any intervention that we intend, not only agroforestry. The general procedure is that we have some kind of intervention that we've identified, and we want to anticipate how it performs before conducting any costly physical testing. What we can do here is pooling in different kinds of available information, quantify uncertainty about the costs, benefits, and risks and how these interact. And we can produce decision-specific assessments based on which decision makers can either decide to go ahead with the decision making, or they can direct their priority to further research until they're more certain about the decision. And this process can be called a rational decision making process. So to read, thanks very much. And to read more, you can check out the paper by our colleague Huado and colleagues. That's in Agronomy for Sustainable Development, and I can share that paper with you if you just ask. I'll probably put it in the notes for this talk. Okay, thanks very much.